Hello YouTube fans, here again, and a figure with some sword, sorcery and fancy days that I'm doing lately. Why not this one? Done this one a few times, actually enjoy this one. This one is a hell of a lot better than the Warrior and the Sorcerer, which I thought was Bowfest. Very similar name, but a cease in this one, as I remember saying, a cease in this one, you do see a Sorcerer, that being the Sword and the Sorcerer. Come out in 1982. Yes, we could say it's a Dove the Barbarian rip-off. You could never see the similarities, but I like it. What can I say? I like this one. So it starts off like most of them, based on the olden times, and you do get a monologue. And you've got this evil guy who wants to take over the kingdom, and they've never met. Ready for this? They've never met the sorcerer. And I actually love the way they resurrect it. And I swear to God, some of the music, when it opens up, it sounds like, remember the opening of Predator? Remember the opening? The music actually sounds like the opening of Predator. So they go into this thing, it's got blood everywhere, you've got this woman, whoever makes this, the sorcerer, these faces that come alive. That reminds me of the Elm Street 3 and 4, you know, the faces, souls of my children. That reminds me of that. So she licks the blood of the sorcerer. One of the people don't believe he's got the powers, so big mistake. He makes this poor woman, he does that with his hand, and he does that. And next thing you know, an heart just explodes in his hand. I don't know if it does actually have a line there where he says, have an heart, you know, some you like that, but they keep it straight, so I respect it for that. Then you get a monologue again, you've got this king and queen and these two boys. It's a nice, beautiful tassel, but should I say wasp? The sorcerer had his powers, destroy everybody. Remember right, he destroyed the older sword. And the younger sword gets his magical sword. And one thing I loved of this film, like most of these fantasy films, when they've got the weapon, whether it's a sword, whether it's a dagger, whether it's a spear, whatever, they never use it. False appetizing in this, he does actually use the sword. So the king gets captured, he gets killed, the mum gets killed, they have this little kid there. You don't see it, it's more off Steve, you got an idea. And the poor lad gets hit on the hand with an arrow, manages to free himself, and you never see him again. But you get a couple of days later, again another monologue. And I've got to admit, I like the acting in this. I actually like the acting in this. I like the fact they give him a special ad and so on, and his magic sword and so on. They get one beautiful girl in it, he dies, I'm not going to say the rest, but our main man comes to save the day, and a buffer gets adopted by the evil king. And he's acted a few things, sad to say, he's no longer with us, may he rest. And I always remember him in Jaws 3. Remember the dad gets eaten by the shark, been a few other things and all. Well, he's the same actor. And like I say, she asks him to help Thea Buffer. And this is actually that ballsy film. For that era, it's really a ballsy film. It's pretty fire and so on. Which is like typical of them sort of fencer films. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of the very early ones to have the rating where it's definitely not for kids. And like I say, we've got the sorcerers attacking people on the way. I actually like the act that basically the evil one that takes over being the king. He's been a villain, he's also sadly no longer with us. You might remember him, he's been loads and loads of films, and almost every film he's in, he always plays a bad guy. Say it again, always plays a bad guy. So he wants to marry the girl to save the brother. And there's one ballsy bit in it, I'm going to forget this. They've got the woman, right, and they actually, one of these women who's in the film, and they have to cut her tongue off. This guy that tortures people. She sacrifices herself, same as the other guy, and the people just want to get him. They want to get him. So I do love the bit where he has a fight, they break out, they kill the guy who tortured the woman and so on, pretty ballsy scene. There's a bit I don't mean when they're fighting, you've got this music, and it just go on and on and on. You could go out, go downstairs, make a cup of tea, make a coffee, whatever. And this bit where I would say cheesy, even though I hate that word cheesy, I would have to say this bit to me is cheesy as fuck. But I like the thing. I like the mist, the fence feel to it. I like the music. It has that you know, that old school fence feel. So he fights the king and he manages to get the better of the king. He knocks the sorcerer down as well. But there's a bit of me where it's thinking, well, would he not want to kill the sorcerer? The sorcerer's the one that caused the death of his brother, caused all the shit. Because halfway through the film, the sorcerer got triple tossed by the one that wanted to be the king, and you think he's dead, and he's not. But there's a good bit in it, all the way through the film. You've got this one guy working for the king. And I forget that. There's a good bit of horror here. Because there's a bit where he gets to the woman, and he rips his face off, rips the skin off, practical effects. You're never going to see anymore. Everything's CGI these days. I will love it. Really adore her. And that's where you get the fulfillment that that's the sorcerer. But like I say, he gets knocked on his ass. He has this epic sword fight. The one who thinks he's the king. And he manages to stab him. But I love the bit where the king's dying and he says, "Who are you?" And he says the line. And then you taps on it's the longer lad. The typical jumps there. The sorcerer jumps up and he kills him. And then you've got the tingle. Everything's falling apart. And they're like, "Oh, dying, dying." And our main man comes out. But there's both bits in here I missed. Like there's a bit where they've got our main man and he's stuck on this thing like a toss with bolts in his hand. And a few little things here and there what I sort of missed out. But I remember me doing this a few times, the sword and the sorcerer. If you're into that old school Mist and Fencer films, definitely not for kids, this is the one for you. The one for you. There are bits where you feel it's, even though I hate the word, I'm going to say it, teaser compared to the one I reviewed a couple of days ago called the fucking Sorcerer and the Warrior, or was it the Warrior and the Sorcerer? I say Warrior and the Sorcerer with David Charity. It seems the guy does a lot more in this. It seems this has more going for it. It seems you've got a piece with action and fencer, some good practical effects you're never going to see anymore because you know everything's computer these days. This had a lot more going for it. You know what I mean? And, you know, the king was who took over being the king was an evil fucker. So I like this one. I like the sword and the sorcerer. Like I say, it definitely was an 18 back in its era. So what can I give it? Well, it's a hell of a lot better than the warrior and the sorcerer. So fuck it. I'll give it a 4-star rating. It's one of them, if you like old stew films, old stew fencer films, a little bit of horror with a bit where he pulls his skin off, bolts on a guy's hand and all this. You can't go on with the sword and the sorcerer. You can't go on with the sword and the sorcerer. Like I say, the opening feels like the scene from Predator. Remember the opening? Where the music goes, I swear to God, it sounds like the scene from Predator. But like I say, I like this film. It's your old school Mist that fencer sort of feel. Again, without a do. 4-star rating for me, that's the sword and the sorcerer. It's a damn good one. Be them. Be smart. Be safe. See you later.